So one of the worst revenge killings that's ever happened to a Chomo in the state of Florida happened to the demonic, evil Chomo named David Rodriguez in Jacksonville County. This piece of shit was convicted for molesting an 11-year-old girl. So before I go into detail about how he was brutally beaten and drowned with all his teeth knocked out in a toilet where he drowned on his own blood in toilet water, this is a perfect example of nobody gives a fuck until they have to give a fuck. And what I mean by that is, it's always somebody that's a victim going to the police, going to teachers, going to everybody, and nobody does anything. They interview the person, but yet the perpetrator still walking the street. They got multiple accusations, convictions, and they're not in jail. And when the parent steps up and goes to war for their child, they'll put a restraining order on the parent for protecting their kid before they will the fucking Chomo. And then, when God forbid something happens to the kid, whether they get killed or hurt so bad, or the parent just snaps and takes them out, or an inmate just cuts that motherfucker's throat, now it's time to change policy and do something. In prison, yeah, you got a lot of psychopath, demonic motherfuckers that belong in there. But you also have a lot of men, just like me, that made horrible decisions as young men or came from the gang culture, the drug culture, but they have families. They have a moral compass. They're just like you when you watch that TV and you say, man, if I could just be 5 minutes alone with that fucking Chomo piece of shit. Well, guess what? You have a lifetime alone with this motherfucker. And the COs will help you get away with it. You have a chance to bring justice, real justice, to somebody that hurt a child. Whether you're doing it because it happened in your city and it's expected of you, you're doing it because it's somebody that you knew, family, a hit, whatever it may be. You just have rage, anger, whatever it is. You always take the trash out. And if you don't, and you associate or even house with the Chomo and somehow you don't do anything about it, you're looked at just as bad. It's just like the whole P. Diddy thing. Everybody was doing sick, demonic shit, but the ones that watched or laughed or never said anything, they're just as bad as the ones doing it. Same applies in prison. If you see a Chomo and you don't fuck him up, slice his face, as we call razor tag. What do I mean by razor tag? Just like laser tag, we call it razor tag. I know dudes that have 8 or 9 Chomos walking around with X's across their face, Nike checks, because they're marked the fuck out for their heinous shit. Other ones, they don't get that lucky. Some get completely castrated, stabbed up, just impaled, the worst of the worst. Others get foobarred, fucked up beyond recognition. And especially in Jacksonville, where they look out for their own. They don't care about your race, your color, your creed, your religion, your gang. When it comes to the kids from their city, they will kill you or fuck you up about it over and over. And the ones that say they make it out, it wasn't so bad, bullshit. They were assaulted in the worst way possible. They were eating jizz, shit, piss in their face, in their food day in and day out. If they physically can't get to you, they will mentally torture you, go after your family, extort you, hit you with the Dookie 5000 water bottle, fucking shampoo bottle filled with every type of shit, piss, jizz you can think of. That's just the way it is. We do not respect men that rape, molest, hurt children or women in any of those ways. You will get dealt with every chance and any chance that we can get. So let's get back to the story. So in Duval, you had this demonic piece of shit Ramirez, who's been locked up since 2013 for the molestation case, going to Jacksonville, Duval County Jail to get some type of guilty plea on a different case to get a hold off him. Well, at the same time, inmate Dixon, who has been locked up since 1992 for a life sentence for a murder, ends up being his cellmate. Now, allegedly, Dixon knew some of the victims that this piece of shit Chomo had hurt. And allegedly, by accident, they were housed together. What was told is that the cameras were broken. It happens all the time in prison. And all the witnesses were sleeping because Dixon waited for for the final count, where the door shuts and you have 4 hours in the dark to do whatever you want to a chomo. Your goal is to make them feel as vulnerable as their victims did. And if you want to take it all the way, then they will, because there is no pity for someone who hurts kids. So he waited. Finally, he said to himself, it's about that time. He gets up off the bunk, starts brutally beating the shit out of Ramirez. And of course, he cowers down and cries. And like all the time, they're begging and pleading for their life. And allegedly, what Dixon said was, "Oh, is that the same type of luxury you gave your victims?" As he brutally stomped his face in. The whole dorm could hear it. Face, teeth, bones just hitting the cement. Then finally, Dixon was done. He picked his head up. Dude was flopping like a fish, could barely move, beaten half to death, foobarred. Put his head in the toilet and just started smashing his head in the toilet until so much blood mixed with the toilet water, he just held his face in that toilet until he ultimately drowned. Now, this is allegedly said before he died. He said the victim's name over and over. That was the last thing he heard before he died in a prison toilet after being beat to death. Now, it's sad that this is what has to happen to these motherfuckers. Either the system fails and the kid gets killed and the parent snaps, or the parent tries everything and ends up trying to kill or does kill the offender because no one's doing anything and the parent ends up getting more time. Or nothing happens. They go to prison and it takes a convict, the outcast, the crazy ones, the maniacs to take care of the trash. There is no pity when you hurt children in this type of way, ever. These people smell different. Everything about them is different. They're evil. They're just the most, I can't even explain it. They look, they smell, they speak. They're just coward, spineless snakes. And every single one of them that I fucked up in my experiences through prison or seen get fucked up, I felt like that was the only thing taxpayers were getting their money worth of in prison in Florida. Stay out, stay free, and leave our kids alone. Us.